Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome to a new live episode of our program, Islamic Law Today. We are honored that you're joining us here today on this very special live episode with our dear professor, Professor Ahmed Ragab. Saie. Professor Ahmed Ragab Saie is a professor of Islamic law at a number of American universities, and he's also a member of a permanent member of the Fatwa Committee of AMJA, the Assembly of Muslim Jurists of America. Professor Saie, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa barakatuh. Ahlan wa sahlan.
Ahlan bik. And to our dear viewers, my dear brothers and sisters, please forgive us last week for not being with you here live on the program. There were some technical difficulties in the studio that did not allow us to be with you, and alhamdulillah, we're glad to be back. And we'd love for you to call us throughout the program, inshallah, on our number 002-02-38-555-248 or 249, or log on to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Islamic Law Today and join us with your comments, with your questions. We'd love to hear from you throughout this live hour, inshallah, here on Huda TV. Professor Saie, welcome back. First of all, a couple of weeks ago we had a special episode about Eid and about Hajj, and last week we did not have a live episode, and this week we go back to what we were doing 3 weeks ago, which is continuing to talk about a very important topic.
Yes, indeed.
The religious character versus the Islamic character, and what the difference between both of these types of characters are.
Yes.
We mentioned that the true character is the character of the Prophet ﷺ, who embodied the human character in its best form, in its most perfect form known to man, and that is truly the Islamic character. But we have another type of character, which is the religious character. We mentioned a couple of things that this character embodies last episode, and we want to continue today and see what this character is and what dangers it entails and what things we can do in order to avoid falling into the trap of being a religious Muslim rather than being a true Islamic Muslim, inshallah.
Yes. Jazakallah khair habibi. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Salatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Allahumma ya Rabbana laka alhamdu kama yanbaghi li jalali wajhika wa azimi sultanik. Subhanaka la nuhsi thana'an alayk anta kama athnayta ala nafsik. اللهم إنا نحمدك حمدا يوافي نعمك ويدفع نقمك ويكافئ مزيدك. اللهم أسألك في هذه الساعة أن تفرج الهم عنا وعن المهمومين وأن تنفس الكرب عنا وعن المكروبين. اللهم كل الإسلام والمسلمين في مشارق الأرض ومغاربها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم أحسن خلاص المسجونين وفك أسر المأسورين واقض الدين عن المدينين واشف وعافي مرضانا ومرضى المسلمين. اللهم إني أسألك أن تبرر للمسلمين والإسلام أمر رشد يعز به أهل دينك وأهل طاعتك ويذل به أهل معصيتك والصادين عن سبيلك يا رب العالمين. أرنا في أعدائك وأعداء الإسلام والمسلمين أياما سوداء يا رب العالمين. اللهم شتت شملهم وفرق جمعهم واجعل دائرة السوء عليهم يا رب العالمين. ولا تمكن لراية الكفر والفسق والفجور إنك أنت العزيز القوي المتين. آمين اللهم آمين. I'll just take this opportunity, inshallah, to call upon everyone who has any program in any channel in these very important days and very crucial moment for Muslims' history, to take a part of their program in the beginning, to just at least make dua, to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have His mercy Azza wa Jal on Muslims everywhere, in Yemen, in Syria, in Egypt, in Tunis, in Libya, in the West, in the East. Have mercy on the whole mankind, because what is going on is really bothering and annoying every one of us. day and night. So we ask our brothers, our beloved scholars, du'at, to not forget their Muslim brothers and sisters, and being part of the family, the human family, to make a special request to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have His mercy Azza wa Jal upon every one of us in these days.
I mean, barakallah feek. Wallahi, one of the best things that I like about this program and about being with you here on this program is that, mashallah, you always talk about the current issues of the Muslim Ummah, and you never forget the issues of the Muslim Ummah. We have Brother Malik with us from Egypt who has a question. Brother Malik, assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam, Brother Osama and Dr. Muhammad. Thank you so much for having us. I know we're speaking about the Islamic character and religious character today, and so I actually had a question regarding my family. My father's not Muslim, and my wife, she still wears her hijab around him. Is it permissible for her to take that off? He is my father, although he is not Muslim.
Jazakallah khairan, Brother Malik.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Well, if that the situation was inside the home of that your father-in-law, that would be permissible, inshallah ta'ala. But if that the situation to take off her hijab outside of home, in the street or the school or the market, it is not permissible. So maybe she has some kind of room. If she is inside the home of her father and his father-in-law, maybe they have some other relatives, maybe during that day or that night, she is allowed to not put her hijab, unless there's some other people. She is not allowed to show her hair or part of her body.
I think Brother Malik is referring to not her own father, but what would be her father-in-law, meaning his father, who's not a Muslim. Brother Malik's father is not a Muslim.
Oh, I see. Yes. All right. Forgive me, inshallah ta'ala. But in that case, would be okay, inshallah ta'ala. If that was inside the home, would be permissible, inshallah.
Even though he's not Muslim?
Yes.
Okay. Barakallah feek.
Inshallah ta'ala. And especially if you know that his father, inshallah ta'ala, is not kind of a person that he is in the stage of spreading some kind of corruption, talking about her beauty or her special, things to foreigners, to other people, that he's a trustworthy person. That will be permissible, inshallah.
So if he's trustworthy, it's not necessary for him to be a Muslim?
Yes.
Okay. Barakallah feek. Okay, so what can we say right now about the religious Muslim that is holding us back from being a true Islamic person?
Well, subhanAllah, my son Osama, this issue, this topic is very important. And even we have received many comments from our beloved viewers that some people, they don't see the difference between religious character and Islamic character. I think that what they meant, they want to say it should not be this kind of difference between religious and Islamic character. It should be one character. From that regard, they might be right. But the reality does not help to have this kind of maybe similarity between the religious character and Islamic character. What we are seeing in our society, in our modern days, it does not matter if you are in the East or the West. You can see clearly it's a big difference between religious character and Islamic character. Religious character is as if that it is being made up. It is false, fake, it is not true, it is not real one. Something to pretend that the person who has this religious character, he is trying to appear as very good one, and he is maybe struggling to appear in that condition, in that status, which is too far from the real Islamic character. Islamic character is, as we talk about the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we are adopting the Islamic character from him sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is nothing to be fake or abnormal or to be like not natural. It is very natural, very normal, very simple, very easy. It is the way you see me, the way I should be. The way I see you, the way you should be. And this is the Prophet character sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He doesn't have like a double standard or multiple standard. what we are seeing in our these recent days or these modern days regarding the religious character, that they have not just multiple standards, they have maybe tens of standards.
Faces, different faces.
Subhanallah,
Yes.
they are just appearing to others accordingly to the situation they are in. And they are trying their best to be perfect and to be known as a perfect person. The way he talks, the way he walked, the way he teach, the way he practice, or maybe the way he's dress, the way he jokes. He's trying to squeeze sometimes his desire, his own maybe natural character, to try to come up with a very unique and super character, which is, as we said, too far from the real Islamic character, too far from the character of the Prophet ﷺ. Just to bring some examples here.
Yes.
If just imagine that someone, he is so famous by his knowledge. He's not claiming that he's the best, but he has a lot of knowledge. Suppose that he is like in the field of chemistry or maybe physics or medicine. He's a very famous professor, very famous maybe scientist, but he's acting his life normally. He eats like others, he jokes like others, he has maybe fun and joy with his family like others. This is the way it should be the human character. Why, when it comes to the Muslim character, those they have knowledge, they have a special status within their maybe Muslim society, they have to have a different maybe way of acting in their life. They cannot eat the same way, they cannot drink the same way, they cannot have a fun the same way, they cannot entertain themselves the same way others they have or they are doing. They cannot joke the same way. They cannot appear like others. They are very preservative people, conservative people. They appear to others like they are just away from making mistakes or being in the spot of being having some sin or having some kind of shortage of knowledge. If sometimes they being asked a question, it's very hard for them to say, I don't know, I cannot recall. They have to refer to something else just to appear that he knows, but he cannot admit that he has some shortage of knowledge. The Prophet himself ﷺ, was not like this. ﷺ. He was, as we said, acting like a prophet, because he's a prophet. ﷺ. He's acting like a messenger, because he's a messenger. ﷺ. But at the same time, he was combining this with acting like a human being.
Because he is a human being.
Because he is a human being, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Yes. And this could be the conclusion, or how to conclude his greatness, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. As we said, as I said in different maybe book, the mystery of his greatness, alayhi sallam, not by talking about the miracles Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, because these miracles came from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala directly, just to show that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so powerful. Or whatever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants, He can execute it subhanahu wa ta'ala, kun fayakun, and give it to the Prophet just to support his claim that he's Prophet and he's Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. But the other mystery of his greatness, which is maybe greater than this, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, when you look deeply and you go like as if that you are diving in a very deep ocean to get the treasure of this ocean, the deeper you go in his character, alayhi and especially in the human side of him, sallallahu the more you are getting treasure out of this character, sallallahu. Imagine that someone lived with the Sahaba, some of them 23 years, the period of his prophethood, alayhi. Some of them more than that, some of them maybe shorter than that. But the bottom line of all his maybe social life with his companions, followers, wives, neighbors, friends, people they deal with him, alayhi, like buying or selling, it was the same. He never been changed, alayhi.
Yes.
The same way they knew him, sallallahu alayhi wa, before being a prophet, as a human being, the same way they knew him before or after he became the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa. And this by itself so beautiful and so wonderful, because this came from Allah through the Prophet ﷺ to bring this point to everyone, that he is being sent to you to follow him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Professor Saie, I have a question for you that I want you to answer after the break, inshallah. Is the title of Sheikh an Islamic title or a religious title?
Good question.
I'd like for you to answer that question when we come back, inshallah. All right, my dear brothers and sisters, please stay with us. So we will be answering this question and much more, inshallah, right when we come from a break, bi'idhnillah.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Learn Arabic.
As everyone knows, today Arabic is considered as very important, very significant language. How can we produce the sound, the state of voicing, place of articulation, and manner of articulation? So in Arabic, the words which are written are pronounced.
We will learn how to write and pronounce Arabic letters correctly in depth. Explanation via board and presentation with many other important factors.
And we have today more than 300 million people speak Arabic language. Not only in the Middle East, but you can find a lot of people speak Arabic language in Asia, Europe, North America, and in South America.
What are you waiting for? Grab your notebook and pencil and stay tuned for Learn Arabic at Huda TV.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose whom He wills subhanahu wa ta'ala for His mercy, for His messengership, for the revelation to be revealed. This is not for the human beings to make that decision. If a person would turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sincerely, truthfully, asking for forgiveness, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala promised to forgive. We have as Muslims a duty, and that is to recite the book of Allah, to ponder over the verses, the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and to act according to the Quran. The mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala encompasses everything, but who would this mercy will be for? And the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was sent to all mankind. So the ummah, or the people of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, are all mankind since the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam till the day of judgment. Why waste our life without getting to know every verse in the Quran, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants from us?
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My dear brothers and sisters in Islam, welcome back to our live episode of Islamic Law Today. Please give us a call and join us on this very interesting topic about the religious character versus the Islamic character. You can give us a call at 002-02-38-555-248 or 249, inshallah. I would love to have your comments and your questions throughout this live hour with our dear Professor Muhammad Naim Saie. Professor Saie, before the break I asked you the title of Sheikh. We say Sheikh such and such, Sheikh such and such. Is that an Islamic title or is it a religious title?
It's religious. And just, by the way, as a matter of fact, this kind of mixing between what is Islamic, what is religious, what is true, what is false and fake, it did not just happen in the Muslims' history. It did not happen only for the Muslim character. It was long time ago, before Islam. All prophet messengers, they came to their people, they came with their character as a prophet and a human being. Yes. They had this combination, and the purpose of that, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran Kareem, just to make all these prophets and messengers subject for following them, for imitating them. So they are easy to be imitated. They are simple to be followed. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made those messengers or prophet angels, Allah is able to do that subhanahu wa ta'ala. But people will say that we cannot imitate them, we cannot follow them, they are angels, they cannot even make mistakes. They are not like us. They don't feel like us. They don't feel hungry like us, or may feel thirsty, or they desire maybe woman or anything like this. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent from within the people, بِلِسَانِ قَوْمِ, even by the tongue of the same people being sent to them, this prophet, just to be like some kind of part of the family. It's like a family message. When you say like family owned and operated, for the restaurant, you like to go to this restaurant because you feel that you are at home. This warm feeling. The same thing, Allah sent prophet and messengers to make people feel that they are within the family. So they know them. They are not strange by their characters to them. They are within the family. Yes. Very familiar to them. So, but what happened after each prophet and messengers, especially like in the Judaism and Christianity, after like period of time, the followers of this prophet and messenger, they start to change. They start to edit in their characteristics. And the reason of that, two things. One, it was hard for their own desire to completely follow this prophet and messengers. So they found that it is much better for them to not take off this mask of being religious people, to try just to put themselves in one corner or one side of the character of these prophet and messengers. They are able to follow this message, like an example by the field of worshipping, field of being like very respectful, very humble, or maybe very knowledgeable people, but they cannot go to that aspect of life to follow them the same way the prophet and messenger they were doing in their life. So it was like a shortage of capability, and reflects some kind of shortage of real, true iman from inside, or maybe some kind of weakness of their iman to follow this prophet and messenger in every aspect of life. Instead of saying that we are trying our best to follow the prophet and messenger in as much as we can, by admitting at the same time that we are not able to reach their status, but this is our duty, to follow them. The way we are eating, the way we are drinking, the way we are dressing, the way we are dealing with others inside our homes, outside of our homes, in the market, in the clinic, in the stores, we are trying our best. We are not prophet. We are trying to follow prophet and messengers. Instead of doing that, they said by action that we are going to take part of the prophet and messengers' characteristics, part of their aspect of life, and try to adopt these things partially, so we are able to be successful in imitating these prophet and messengers, so we'll be having some kind of share of respect and some kind of credit by the eyes of people who are looking at us.
So did the same thing happen in Islam?
The same thing happened in Islam.
How?
Because people, after maybe the first century, the second, the third century, the weakness from within the Islamic character has come to reflect this weakness. So instead of following the prophet and messengers in every way, the same in every aspect of life, in every maybe side of life, the same way that the Salaf, the first generation, the second, the third, they start to have this weakness. They start to corner themselves in a special side of their life, and that reflect the issue of like Sufism, when they are trying to focus on the issue of worshipping and making a lot of dhikr. So they disregard the side of knowledge and seeking knowledge, and they concentrate on the act of worshipping. Or maybe other they do the opposite. They start to focus on the knowledge and maybe philosophical things and issues and debating, arguing, and they may disregard the issue of worshipping. Some other they maybe disregard some other side of the Prophet ﷺ, way of life, like being simple, being able to be appeal to everyone, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes. They start to adopt some kind of dress, some kind of titles, and you just make some comparison between the first generation and maybe the fourth generation, or maybe the fifth one, if you talk about centuries, till the time of Imam Ahmed, rahimahullah ta'ala, Al-Imam Abu Bakr ibn al-Mundhir, Al-Imam Muhammad al-Jarir al-Tabari, and the end of the third century. These very great scholars and jurists, imams in the Muslim history, they've been called by their nickname, by calling Aba Fulan, Ya Aba Fulan, Ya Aba Abdullah, Ya Aba Muhammad. All these innovative titles came later on after the 4th century, were not having any place in the life of these great imams and great scholars. Like when you read a book maybe narrated by someone in the 8th centuries or maybe the 9th centuries, you could see like the titles of these authors. You have to read a lot of words, a lot of titles before you reach the name of the author of this book.
Yes.
But that wasn't the case in the 1st century, because this is the Prophet ﷺ case, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. أنا النبي لا كذب أنا ابن عبد المطلب. But say Abdullah wa Rasuluh.
Yes.
The servant of God and His Messenger, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So all these titles came out as if that to cover up the shortage of practicing, the shortage of following, the shortage of imitating, and did not stop at that limit, the limit of like titles. As we said, titles does reflect this kind of shortage.
Yes.
To cover up, as if
an
that
indication of the shortage.
Exactly.
Yes.
But it did come in the same time of the shape of dress.
Yes.
The way you should dress to appear, among others, that you have a very special, maybe characteristics or very special skills or talent. So you have to change the dress, which was not the case of the Prophet ﷺ, was not the case of all imams and scholars in the 1st century, the 2nd and the 3rd. All of them, following the Prophet ﷺ, they were dressing the same way people they used to dress. It does not matter if you are in the age of maybe 40 or 60, you have to follow what they call the culture at that time.
Yes.
The culture he was following, ﷺ, even within the Arab Peninsula, the way they used to dress, the way they used to put imama, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, all this was like a part of the culture. It was cultural things. He was dressing the same way people around him used to dress, in order just to not be distinguished from among the others, like the Sahaba, the companion. Because if he did that, alayhi salam, he would put some barrier between him and the people they're supposed to follow him, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He did not do that, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. So they start to adopt a special dress. So you could read in the history, and this scholar used to be known by his like big turban or imama or dress or something like this. Till we have in our modern time, the same thing happened to the Judaism and Christianity. People of religion, people of religion from Judaism or Christianity, they have a special dress.
Yes.
It was not the case of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam.
Yes.
It was not the case of Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam. The same thing was not the case of Sayyidina Muhammad alayhi salam, to have a special dress to be distinguished from among other maybe Sahaba or followers. And he was disliked, he disliked to him to dress differently, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Yes. Today you have an image of a sheikh.
Right?
Yes.
So that's what we are just to come to the conclusion of when you ask the questions. It's a very beautiful question, because it does maybe make it very brief. Yes, the word of sheikh or title of sheikh was adopted, innovated, to be in the same chain of changing the real Islamic character, and to be saying at the end the real Prophet character, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's what we say all the time in every maybe gathering or occasions. Please don't call me sheikh.
Yes, I remember that. Yes.
Just call me by what I claim, my title, academic title. Yes. I claim it. It does not mean anything. If you say that Dr. so-and-so or Professor so-and-so, does not mean that you are in the Firdaus al-A'la.
No.
Or you claim that you are be like among Siddiqeen or Shuhada Salihin. It does not reflect your belief as a religious status. Even you have to believe inside yourself that you are a simple man, you are a very ordinary person. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you something to benefit others, so you claim it. But if you don't claim something you don't have it. Like I don't claim that I'm a doctor in medicine, because I don't have it.
Yes.
I claim that I'm a professor in Islamic law, because I don't have it to benefit others. But the word of sheikh has come later on to give that kind of religious image, and just automatically to be like part of it. When you say sheikh, that means he has to have a special status with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. To have a special status to be claimed. He's not like us. He's better than others. He's not an ordinary person. He cannot joke the same way. He cannot eat the same way. He cannot act in his life the same way. So you have to give him a very special status, very special treatment, because he's sheikh.
And at the same time, that person needs to live up to that status. So
he has to struggle.
Yes.
to struggle maybe abnormally, artificially, to keep that status. And how much he is suffering because of this.
Yes.
Because inside his home he's a different person. As if that he is going outside his home to be in the movie. And it's a very hard movie.
As if he's acting.
Subhanallah.
Yes.
So the Prophet was not like this, alayhi, and all these beautiful generations were not like this. And that's what we are calling upon everyone in this century as a part of our maybe call for this Islam, the renewal of this Islam, reviving this Islam. Let us get back to the Islamic character. Character without additional or innovated or invented maybe titles. What you have, what you claim.
Yes.
What you don't have, you don't claim.
Yes.
Act normally in the society, in your life. Try your best, inshallah ta'ala, and make this life as a race. Very noble, maybe, field of racing each other in the field of worshipping Allah, pleasing Him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Something people they don't know, they do know about you, something they don't know about you. And this other may be part of the Islamic character. And differentiate it from the religious character. Islamic character, always you have to consider what you have between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supposed to be greater than what you have between you and people.
Yes.
What you are saving, you have like saving account. You have like checking account. Checking accounts in front of everyone.
Yes.
You are acting normally and simply. But your saving account with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has to be something greater that nobody knows about this. How much you pray inside your home, how much you make dhikr, how much you make a good progress within your family. People, they don't know. But they know about you outside that you are a normal person. You are simply trying your best to be a good person. But inside your home, you are better than that. So this is like other differentiation here. What people they do know about you, it is less what they don't know about you. Now, religious character is the opposite exactly. What people they do know about you is greater what they don't know about you.
Yes.
As if that you are trying to be the best outside and the worst inside.
Yes.
And look at the Prophet ﷺ. When he was reading the prayer, he was making it light.
Yes.
It depends on the kind of prayer we are talking about, Dhuhr or Maghrib or Isha or Fajr, but generally speaking. And he used to say, if someone lead people in the prayer, he should make it short and light, because some people behind him are praying. And he mentioned the old man, right? The old person, maybe the sick person, the mother does have a baby. So make it short and make it easy. And you know the story of Sayyidina Mu'adh, when he was leading his people and he was making very long. But look at him when he was going to his home at night.
Yes.
How much he used to pray, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And we'll never be able to know about him unless after he passed away, alayhi wasallam. As Sayyidah Aisha, other wives of him used to talk about his ibadah, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. But during his life, people, they don't know about this.
Yes.
Because this is like between him and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this part of the Islamic character, Prophet character, alayhi salam, and to be far away from what we are talking about right now is religious character.
When we come back, inshallah, from the break, I want to ask you, these are some general characteristics of the religious character versus the Islamic character. And I feel from what you're saying, mostly they apply to men. I want to focus a little bit more on women. What are some characteristics that especially fit for the Muslim sisters that could make them, religious, appear to be religious when in reality they're not acting Islamic, inshallah. So inshallah ta'ala, when we come back, we'll address this very important question. Jazakumullah khairan, please stay with us.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Ask Hoda.
Dear brothers and sisters, welcome to a new edition of Ask Huda.
I have 2 questions.
Please go ahead. You can read it in Arabic and you can also understand the meaning in your own language. The different tafsir and the interpretation of the meanings of the Quran are available in almost every language that exists on earth by the grace of Allah. The water of Zamzam is for whatever intention you drink it with. Salih from Egypt, his father has the way and he asked about how can he help him. Very good question.
Can they give a zakat to any of the dawah centers?
The ibadah or the act of worship is a part of the unity of worship. It has to be paid to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and in accordance with the guidance of His Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
In this program, inshallah, we'll be discussing the major sins in Islam, the way that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had taught us. Why the neighbor does not care about their neighbor anymore? Why does the father does not care about the son anymore? Why does the mother does not care about her daughter anymore? There's major sins that we need to be very far away in our lives, so we could get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, obtain the pleasure of Allah azza wa jal. As long as we commit those major sins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would not be too pleased from us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will punish those who commit those major sins. Keep away from what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had forbidden, and you'll be the closest worshipper to Allah azza wa jal. It is our duty in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep away from what Allah azza wa jal had forbidden. As when we commit those sins, especially those major sins, remember you are displeasing your Lord, and you are bringing upon the curse and the anger of your Lord upon you.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Welcome back to our live episode of Islamic Law Today. Please give us a call at 002-0238-555-248 or 249. We'd love for you to join us with your comments and with your questions about today's topic, the religious character versus the Islamic character. Professor Saie, how about women? Can they also fall into the trap of being religious Muslims rather than having an Islamic character?
Definitely.
How so?
It is not just definitely, it is sometimes a tragedy. Because this sickness, I call it sickness, disease, came from different maybe nations to be adopted by Muslims in different stage of history. It does not stop at the male, it's female too. When you see like Muslims, women in the shape of da'iyah, or the shape of shaykha, because we have shaykh, we have shaykha. We have female and male. Male shaykh title and female shaykh title. So when you look at some Muslim women, very good practice Muslim women, appear to be da'iyat. They are calling fi sabilillah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are teaching, they have some lectures, lessons, all of these issues. They appear to others exactly the same way of the religious character from the male side. They have to be very respectful, very strict, very conservative. They are not free, very tied, as if they were chained by some behaviors, some kind of actions. They are not free to act normally and simply because they are a figure in the society. And especially when they are doing that at the expense of their family, the expense of their children, the expense of their relatives. I've been told many stories, it's very painful stories. When this Muslim da'iyah, Muslim woman da'iyah, she's very active and up to the minute in knowing everything about her maybe student, but she has nothing, or she has maybe very little knowledge about her own family, like sister or aunt or maybe grandmother or grandfather, something like this. So she is acting differently when it comes to their own family, relatives. Sometimes at the expense of her husband, her children. Yes. They are so active and she is so powerful and she is so nice, so kind, behaves very well within her maybe student. When she is inside her home, she is a different person. She is yelling and she is acting like and behaved woman with her husband, with her children. She cannot control her temper. And outside she is very humble and very in control to everything she has. It's like a double standard. And as we said, the religious character might lead, God forbid, to the hypocrisy.
Yes.
And we are talking about hypocrisy. It's like a tragedy, disaster. When someone is appearing to others like he is a very good person, at the end of his life, maybe the day of judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will put him in different rank. God forbid, subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yes.
So Muslims, they should always follow what the Prophet wives, alayhi salam, they used to be in their life, to act like them, to follow them, imitate them. They were acting, as we said, normally and simply, trying their best to be in a good status of worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and following the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam without claiming big titles, because they were just like him sallallahu alayhi wasallam. They were adopting his character sallallahu alayhi wasallam from the side everyone is able to adopt sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because as you know, it's certain side of our life, you cannot take it from the Prophet alayhi wasallam. You have to take it from his wife alayhi wasallam.
Yes.
Like the female side. And this is the wisdom of Allah to make the Prophet has more than one wife, as if that he's spreading the way of the Sunnah, alayhi the way to be followed by having certain numbers of women. They are able to lead this kind of great mission and assignment to teach everyone how to act as a follower of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam from the female side. So from our Muslim women in these days, they should always remember, they should not having this double standard or multiple standard. They should not adopt the religious character. They should adopt the Islamic character.
Yes.
The same way the Sahabiyat they used to do, inshallah ta'ala.
I have kind of a funny question. Do you think the religious character has, when we're saying a character, we're addressing it as something that's not a physical shape, but do you think the religious character actually has a certain physical shape?
Unfortunately, because everything does affect on the every part of the whole issue of being a character, a figure. So if you are considering yourself as a figure, very important figure in the society, and this kind of drawing this character does not come really from Islam, from the Prophet ﷺ condition and behavior and Sunnah. You have to draw to yourself everything to complete the picture. So as if that you are telling yourself, I cannot be a real sheikh, can be a real important figure within my own society, unless I have special titles, special maybe image, a special maybe name, a special even sometimes physical shape.
Like what?
But this physical shape sometimes comes not to be like meant to be this way, but has come as the impact of the whole religious character. Because I don't think that someone does like himself to be like a fatty person, to be a person with ugly physical shape, like he does not appear as a fit person. He's not, athlete person. He cannot, practice sport like others. He cannot run like others. He cannot ride maybe a horse or camel or maybe bicycles like others.
Yes.
He cannot play football like others. He cannot play basketball like others. If he play with others within the same image he had, the same title he has, the same maybe dress he has, he would be like a joke, would be like entertainment. And it does happen. So people, they are very happy to see the sheikh playing with them. Look, the sheikh is playing with us. He's not supposed to play, but he is playing as if that is a joke.
Yeah.
But should not be taken this way. He should be, if he is in the masjid, in the mosque, or maybe the university, on the college, on the market, has the same shape being in the field, but maybe different way of acting in the life. The way you act in the market, not the same way you are acting in your maybe college or university. You are teaching now. Yes. There you are selling and buying. But you are in the field now of sport, playing basketball or volleyball. You have to be very fit person. And nothing wrong to have some muscles. Nothing to have like what they call a sporty shape,
That's how the Prophet ﷺ was.
Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yes.
And who can imagine that when that hadith sometimes came and we just let it pass this way, very, very, very speedy, way to understand the hadith. When Sayyidah Aisha was talking about the Prophet when he was raising her, I was raising the Prophet when she was still young. And he won the race, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. After that, she won the race. But in the same hadith, in the same two occasions, he was still racing, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. He was still running, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam.
Yes.
And who can tell that someone is able to conquer Makkah al-Mukarramah, al-Fath, al-Fath, when he is not fit, he's not in a good physical shape? Look at the Sahaba, they were taking this from the Prophet ﷺ as a people, they are always very well alert, very well prepared, physically and spiritually and mentally, everything. Abu Ayyub al-Ansari, all these Sahaba at the age of 70. And in these modern days, I used to know about this. In our maybe Muslim countries or Arab countries, if someone reached the age of 60, that means that's it. He's an old man right now. He should be a retired person from everything.
Yes.
And he play like sometimes, what they call it?
Ping pong?
No, he cannot play ping pong either. He plays some kind
Chess.
of, maybe, yes. He has to be sitting.
Any type of board game.
Yes, subhanAllah. But this wasn't the case of the Sahaba, the people around the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They're always in the very good physical shape. And imagine that struggling and fighting, need all this power, not all this physical shape, riding the horse or camel or walking sometimes. So when these days, when look at because we live in the West, we still live in the West, in America and Europe and France, Britain. Look at very quick example. When you look at the Joint Chief of Staff in the United States Army, how does he look? Very fit person, right? Compare him with someone the same title, less title, less rank of this person, in the maybe any Arab army. Most likely, especially some countries, you see that his belly is going like 1 meter ahead, as if that he's not in the army. Maybe he's like in the kitchen, maybe he's like in the restaurant. Does not reflect really the Islamic character. So that reflect on the Sheikh image, reflect on the religious character, that it's very shameful for the Sheikh to play like others. It's very shameful for the Sheikh to be very fit person, to have like muscles, to be very up to the minute and follow sometimes the sport news or watching some lawful sport, maybe games. I used to know when I was little young person, he's watching like a soccer game. It's shameful. We've been taught this way. It's shameful for you to, as a Muslim, practice Muslim, to watch a soccer game.
Yeah.
It is very wrong.
Subhanallah.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is such an interesting topic. Unfortunately, we ran out of time today, inshallah. If you would like to continue talking about this topic next time, I would love it, inshallah.
Let us see the feedback from our beloved viewers.
Yes, inshallah. Inshallah, my dear brothers and sisters, send us your comments on Facebook throughout the week at facebook.com/Islamic Law Today, or on our email, which inshallah appears on the screen for you. And inshallah, if you'd like to continue talking a little bit more about the religious character versus the Islamic character, we'll talk about it next week. If not, then inshallah we'll start a new topic with our dear Professor Muhammad Naim Saie. Professor Saie, thank you so much as always for being with us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward. Jazakallah khair. And my dear brothers and sisters, thank you so much for joining us here today. And inshallah we'll see you next week on another new live episode of Islamic Law Today. We'll see you then inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Which of Allah's favors can we deny? Above all creatures, He chose us to be high. To Him we belong, to Him is our return. Life in this world is only a sojourn. To the angels He commanded that man be respected. Shaitan he did not, and so was he rejected. Compared to the angels, we are but clay. As long as Allah we obey, we'll not go astray.